Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. I hope you're all well. So we're back at it again with another video brought to you in association with Boss. This is a sponsored video, but all that aside, we're looking at the DD-200. You may have seen recently I did a video on the OD-200 and I'm going to be looking at all the 200 series pedals. So we've got the OD, this is the DD, we've got the MD, and we've also got the EQ. So there's 4 different 200 series. They're all very cool, very sophisticated, compact. They look awesome and they sound really good. We've got 32-bit ADDA conversion, they've got 32-bit internal processing and 96 kHz sample rate. So the audio quality is great. They're stereo, you can power them off a 9-volt or you can use batteries. And the cool thing is you've got TRS MIDI. It's MIDI but then into like a MIDI headphone jack, and you can daisy chain them all with essentially headphone jack to headphone jack cables. So that's really cool. You can program 4 presets, you can scroll through them, they're really easy to save, and there are a bunch of different delays in this one. If you want to see a bit more of the in-depth operations of how to use these pedals, you want to look at the OD-200 video because it's basically the same as all the 200 series. On the back of the pedal you've got a control in and an expression pedal in, because I keep getting told that I get them mixed up, which I do, so it's fair enough. But anyway, you can control different parameters of the pedal using the control or the expression pedal. I do have an expression pedal on the ground, which I'm running a TRS from the DD-200 to it, so I can control the level of the delay. I can do cool stuff like blend it in and out, which is a nice feature as well. We're running into the Rev D20 amplifier. I've got a revival drive from Origin Effects for my gain and stuff. I'm going to be using my Strat, probably the JP15. Yeah, all the reverb that's going to be in this video is coming from the Universal Audio Apollo X8P. Let's get into it. So this is an overview of the pedal. Very similar form factor to the OD-200, except obviously it's different effects, so all the parameters are different things, but it looks very similar. Along the top you've got time, feedback, level, then you've got a parameter knob which essentially affects a specific characteristic in each delay machine. So like analog delay, for example, it'll give you a bit more saturation. If you boost it or tape, it gives you the amount of tape heads you can scroll between. Yeah, basically it just affects the parameter of the delay. Then you've got tone, which is really cool, so you can shape how much of the high end you want in there. And then depth of a modulation, which is a preset modulation. I think there are different characteristics of the modulation depending on the type of delay you're on, but yeah, it's the level of that. Down below we've got tap division, got triplets or dotted, so there's loads of different divisions of time there to get cool delay patterns going. Then on the right hand side you've got memory, so this is how you do the whole preset thing. You can scroll through different memories that you might save or use it in manual mode, which is how it's all set above. Yeah, and then you press and hold twice to save the patch to one of the 4. If you do connect any of the other 200 series, you can utilize all their preset banks, so you can end up with 16 if you had all 4. Then you've got the tap tempo, and you can scroll between memory to toggle between the memories, or you can hold to turn it into tap tempo mode. Pretty easy, straightforward. Also has a looper inside, which is very cool. Hold these 2 to go into looper mode, like that, and then you essentially use this to record, dub, and then play back, and then that's to stop. And if you hold it, you will clear the loop. So very cool. And then press it again to come back into the normal mode. And that's how you use DD-200. Let's have a look at some tones. Okay, I've got the guitar. As you can see on the close-up, I've kind of tried to make everything standardized, and then we can sort of drag in different features so you can hear the differences as we go through. And the expression pedal's controlling the level of my delay overall. So this is the sound of the guitar with no delay, the reverb from Capital Chambers. So that's how it sounds, obviously using a lot of reverb because we're playing with delay, so I like the ambience. But anyway, here we go. Let's bring in standard delay. bit of noodling. So let's just check out what you can do to the sound of the standard delay with the parameter knob for a start. So as you turn up the parameter, it adds like a sweep, like a ramp of volume into it, so that it was attack essentially. So it's taking the attack time down, which is taking that repeat longer to come in. So this is on nearly full. It's very useful because it keeps the main pick attack clear within what you're doing. So for example, so you get the idea. So that's what parameter does, and then tone obviously. So I've messed with the modulation, depth, the tone, and we've changed the attack time. This is what we've got. So there you go, that's standard delay. Let's move on to analog delay. Analog delay is probably one of my favorites because I've always enjoyed how it stays out of the way of what you're playing. So that's the analog delay, and then if we mess with the parameter, you'll hear it'll change the saturation. A lovely sounding delay, especially when you pump up the parameter knob and you can get that kind of harmonic feedback coming from it. If you whack the tone up a bit more and let's pump the feedback, give it an exaggerated example maybe. So there, you can quite clearly hear it does that classic kind of, it's the kind of thing that happens with the tape delay as well. That kind of rich starts to feed back in itself and create that really nice overtone, which works really well for atmospheric sections and building stuff up and stuff. Anyway, that's analog. Let's move on to tape. So parameter knob changes the amount of tape heads. We've got tape head 1, we've got tape head 2, tape head 3, and then you've got tape heads 1 and 2, 1 and 3, then 2 and 3, then 1, 2 and 3, and then you've got basically you've got all the options. So I'm just going to choose a random one so you can hear what it sounds like. So as you can hear, you can do really cool stuff. It sort of makes you go into certain rhythmic style delay jams, if you know what I mean. Like it ends up suggesting cool ways that you can mess with the rhythm just by the amount of tape heads and what it does to the delay. So you get the idea there. There's loads you can do again. It's just a case of tinkering, messing around, and just seeing what you come up with. So anyway, let's move on. Now we're on to drum. Very similar in principle because it's, you know, obviously like the drum tape echo kind of vibe. So it's a similar thing, but it's going to sound a bit different. The cool thing I found out here is that obviously, you know, you can do the same sort of thing that you can do with tape echo, but if you have it really fast, it can create some really glitchy, weird sounds. So let me show you. So it's not exactly what you'd normally use a drum delay echo type thing for, but I just stumbled across that sound earlier and I was like, that's actually pretty cool, so I'm going to include it because I just think it's something cool you can do with that effect that you probably wouldn't expect to do. I'm getting carried away, of course, as always. Anyway, moving on, shimmer. Now, this one is really cool because I like to use it with the expression pedal and you can kind of blend in this like choral underbelly of awesomeness around any chords you play and stuff. So I'll show you how I do that and I'll be using the expression pedal as I go. So I really love that because it's a really atmospheric, like warm sound. So I generally just had the tone all the way down for that, a bit of modulation and tried to blend in as much as I can. And the feedback just to the point where it's not overbearing. But yeah, that's a really cool thing you can do with the shimmer. Parameter knob, I think, changes the amount of voices. Or more, should I say, the amount of blend of the voices. Right, Terra Echo. I remember this is one of the first Boss demos I ever did was of the Terra Echo ages ago, back when I lived at the Cliff House with Rob, so that was really cool. But this is the Terra Echo, which we all know and love. Right, before I move on to pad echo, I'm just going to change up the guitar because we've used this one on a few, so let's move on. Okay, got the JP15. Pad echo is kind of, it just supplies this like pulsating pad underneath what you play, and having the expression again is really nice to be able to blend it in behind the chords that you go for. Lovely, lovely sound. I really enjoy that one. Okay, pattern. So on the pattern delay, it's cool because you can use the parameter knob to move between the different patterns programmed into the pedal. So let me show you. This is if you move the parameter knob all the way over to the left, you're in program 1. Let's try 2, 3. Turn the time down a bit so we can hear him a bit clearer. So I think the cool thing about these are if you sort of play along with the tempo, you can get some really nice underlying rhythms that sort of, you know, give you a bit of movement with what you play. So let's give it a go. Good Lord. I mean, that's just hours of fun in that one sound that I had with the parameter knob. Like, you've got so many different ones you can use and just jam along with it and do cool stuff. So, all right, let's move on. Lo-fi. This is a cool sound. So that was lo-fi. I mean, I can change quite a bit about that again with the parameter knob. So that was lo-fi. Things were getting a bit weird there. We're moving on to dual now. This is another one of my favorites, dual delay, because it's just cool. You can get like opposing rhythms going and all that kind of stuff. So let's have a listen. Currently set very strangely from the last patch. So the parameter knob changes the time of the second delay, just so you know. So let's have a listen. This is one of my favourite patterns I like to use with a dual delay. So that's dual delay, and obviously parameter knob changes the time of the second delay. Right, now we're on to ducking. This is useful because it's almost like a sidechain gate in a way, or a ducker, obviously, which essentially favours your playing, so then it will stay out your way, and as you stop or chill out a bit, it will come in afterwards like this. Obviously that's an extreme example to show you what I mean, but you can do some cool stuff with it too. Okay, so now we're on to the last delay machine. This is reverse. Obviously it's a reverse machine, but the cool thing is here that if you play and then let it ring out, it gives you this pulsating rhythm underneath, which is really cool. Check it out. That's really cool, but obviously it can do other stuff as well. So there you go, there's a look at the DD-200. Obviously I just sort of quickly tried to get a sound going with each delay machine, mess around with it so you can kind of hear what it does and then move on. I imagine this video is probably going to be quite long again because there's so much to cover, but as always it's a joy using the Boss stuff just because there's always something in there that gets me like making some sort of riff or little song section or something like that. I must say, out of all the sort of multi-purpose delay pedals like the 500s and all the other stuff they've done over the years, this one's probably my favorite in the sense that it's the form factor and the simplicity of being able to program 4 delays only. I think that's quite good because in pedals like this you can just get so lost with the amount of different things that you can create that you end up just messing around more than you do actually creating any music and stuff. So the fact that it limits you to 4 that you have to use within something you're trying to do song wise or whatever is quite cool, and I like it. More so to the point, it's just easy as well to program it and use it. It's just simple, so I like it. I guess as far as like multi-delay stuff goes, it's simple, you know, because we're still talking about tons of different things that you can obviously affect. But either way, that's the DD-200. As always, thanks to Boss for sending them over for me to review and take a look at. I'd love to know what you think in the comment section below, if you've got one and the things you enjoy about it and stuff like that. Comment it in the comment section. Obviously I'll link everything in the description box. As always, like, subscribe and share. I've been Rabea and I will see you all very soon.